Hello, I am Chanel, this is Spirited Stardust, and today I am looking at the Mushroom Oracle, which is a 44 card deck and guidebook. I think it's published by Brocolli magazine, and the artwork is by Bethany van Rijswijk and words by Ellen Freeman. I saw this deck on Rose Honey Rituals, so thanks to Meg for bringing this deck to my attention. So this is the inside of the deck. Here is the guidebook. So it is glossy pages. You have an introduction, how to use the cards, when to use them, what you can use them for, some different spreads. There's quite a few themed spreads too, which is great, about reversals. And then you've got different suits. So here you have the forest with the cards that are in here. These are the cards, so this is full color. You've got the keyword with more the title of the card, I guess, with more keywords, a full color image, and then sort of a paragraph, some sentences, prompts, kind of thing. So that is that suit. The next suit is the fungal structures. So they've got different colors as well. The mushrooms, so the types of mushroom, and the mushroom people. And that is the guidebook. These are the cards and the backs. So they are a very deep burgundy. They are a satin feel, quite thick. So you have borders as well with the title of the card and some keywords. So let's take a look at the cards. This was, I think, around $75 in Australia. There are Australian websites that sell it, so you'll save on shipping in that way, but I'm not sure internationally, guys. Like I said, I can only comment on the Australian prices for decks, so this was about $75, but because they're Australian companies, they tend to go on sale, you know, a lot. So that was the price of this. This is Fruiting Body, and that is part of the fungal structures. So it says the fungal structures cards are part of a whole. Phases of growth, stages of life, facets, pieces of a puzzle, processes, internal systems at work, or functions within a body, organization, or society. They are inherently relational, one element of a larger framework, a point in an orbit, a setback or springboard on a journey, an evolutionary chapter, the right hand to a left hand. Thus, they can be helpful when combined with other decks to reveal areas where something might be stuck or blocked, a vulnerability or a foundation stone, or a key to unlocking a problem. So I'll put that here and put this here in case you want to do it really long. So the keywords are manifestation, embodiment, and expansion. Suddenly, something's there that wasn't before. The fruiting body, a visual manifestation of underground efforts. What is taking shape? So I will now see you for the next part, which is my review. Okay, welcome to the second portion, which is my review. So as you can see, I have made a bag for it. I love the bag. I wanted something that looked really flowery and nature-esque. Didn't love making it, but love the way it turned out. And as you can see, I put a little mushroom button on there, but I'll talk about the bag more in my monthly wrap-up at the end of the month. So here we have the deck. So before I start talking about my review, I'll show you what I paired it with. But first off, I will say with the backs, I don't mind them. They are very minimal, very sleek, elegant, and simple, but it works for me. I do like it. And I edged mine in a sort of wine red to sort of match the red that's in the border. So that's how I've modified the decks thus far. So here we'll place it here. And this deck I paired it with, so I paired this deck with the herbcrafter's tarot. So I'll just grab that and I'll place it in. And I also paired it with the Green Witch Oracle. So I wanted to pair it with decks that were also plant-based, that were also not going to take away from the imagery of this deck. I wanted this deck to really be the focal of all of my readings because I absolutely bloody love the artwork. So the first thing I have to say is this artwork is gorgeous. I'm living for it. I'm here for it. I absolutely adored it. The cardstock. So the cardstock does feel lovely. It's that satin. It's on very thick cardstock though, which means it will not riffle shuffle. And sometimes I find with this kind of cardstock, even overhanding, it can clump. So you're not getting like all of the cards sliding across each other. So it's not the best to shuffle. Do I like the borders? I'm not sure actually if I like the borders with the dots. I'd have to see it if it was, you know, borderless. I think I'd probably prefer it borderless because then there's more of the image. And I love the images. I really do. It's lush. This is artwork in a deck for me. And I did see this deck from Rose Honey Ritual and I'm so happy because I love it. So she did, though, thank goodness, give me a heads up on sort of the lackluster guidebooks, which I will show you once again. So the quality of this deck, gorgeous in terms of the cardstock, the guidebook. It even has embossed lettering on the front, beautiful glossy full color pages. So there's a little bit about the cards. I've got wonderful thematic spreads, so I'll do one later so you can see what that's like. I did like to, with this deck, read the suit description before reading the card because it sort of changes your perspective of how you're looking at the card. So I did find this really helpful because the cards themselves, they have the same 3 keywords you see on the front, and then they've only got this little bit here. And this little bit here is sometimes a little enigmatic. It's sometimes a bit of a riddle. You know, it's a bit Yoda speak or the mushroom from Alice in Wonderland. They all sort of could be used though as journal prompts. You could take something from it to turn it into a journal prompt, but it's not very clear, direct messages in this. I did have to work a little bit harder to get my clarity when using this deck. For me, the energy of this deck is quite hidden. I guess, you know, it's theme is mushrooms, which, you know, are proliferative under the ground. Like what you see above the ground, the fruiting bodies you see above the ground is not indicative of the absolute expansive breadth of their system underneath the ground. They mostly are all underneath the soil. You don't really see the meat of this organism. So the deck sort of has that, not like kind of secretive, hidden knowledge-y kind of feel, you know, to it, where it's like, oh, you want me to tell you some stuff? You've got to give me all of your attention and sit with me and peel back the layers and find the hidden gems. So this deck did require a lot more of my attention and using all of my sort of intuitive abilities and reading abilities and seeing what I could glean from it. I did use these as clarifiers quite a bit with it, but I definitely had to pull this one first, sit with it before pulling out my clarifying cards. I do like how all of these decks work together. I thought they worked absolutely fine. They're very complementary. I'm not sure how this deck would work with other decks, but these are the ones that I used with it this time around. So for me, I don't really tend to use this as a single card spread pull for the day. I wouldn't be like, okay, tell me about my day today. You could use that because you can see, even just if you chose, you know, say here we got snail, safety, home, attachment. That's what it's saying, like, hey, today's energy is going to be that. It says home is something you carry within you, not something to seek and obtain. Follow the spiral, the path only you can find. Leave a glittering trail as you pass. Like, it's very poetic and lyrical and story-like, but sometimes you just want a very clear, distinct, easy to digest message. If I'm doing my one card pulls, or sometimes if I'm doing a one card, I want to read something in a guidebook. You know, I want to sit there and really get a chunky message. I want some chunkiness if I'm doing a one card. So I didn't tend to use it like that. I did use it more with the other cards to complement it. With this deck, like I said, you could do a lot of journal prompts based on the little bit that's in there. They do have an exercise in the guidebook where they get you to pull one card every day. I haven't done this obviously because it's for a month, but you pull a card every day for a month. And then set it aside so you don't pull the same card twice. At the end of the month, you look at the cards that you pulled and what was left behind, and sort of seeing what did you accomplish, what didn't you, what manifested, what's in process, what's behind, what's hidden. So there is like exercises that you can do with this deck. For me, seriously, the main appeal of this deck, besides its theme, because, you know, I am a mushroom girly. Oh, this is one of my favorite cards. I just love it. I just love it. It's artwork. I really do. I really love the artwork. This could have been absolute trash reader for me, and I wouldn't give a shit because this is just a bit of beauty for me in my life, and it doesn't matter. It really didn't matter how it read. Like, it could have been an absolute flop, and I'd be like, I'm still keeping this deck because it makes me happy. It gives me joys looking at it every day. This is probably one of my least favorite cards in this deck, that one. It's a bit too overly saturated for me. But yeah, there's a lot of cards I really did resonate a lot with, and I just, I love them, you know? I really would have just loved a better guidebook. That is really the biggest downside to this deck for me, was the guidebook. If this had just had a bit more substance in it, if they'd written a bit more, and it could be one that I could really immerse myself in, oh my God, this would have been one of my favorite decks of all time. So the sort of simpleness of the guidebook is the only thing that's sort of gets me down a bit, and the shuffleability. It is a clumper. So sometimes with decks that clump, isn't that pretty? I like to actually go card by card and feel which one I want to pull. It's not my favorite way of doing it. I don't like that because sometimes I'm like, oh, but what if there's another card later in the deck? Like, maybe I should go through the whole deck first and then double back and do it again. Oh, I love it. So sometimes I did do it that way. But otherwise, like I said, it did read for me. It did take some getting to know. We had, you know, a period of really getting to know each other and figuring each other out. But I do adore it. It makes me happy just looking at it, and I'm very pleased with our time together. So I'll do a little spread here so you can see how it reads and how I like kind of interpret the cards, and I'll catch you. Okay, so I've decided to do the solstice equinox spread, which is a 2-card spread, and the first card represents something I learned from this season past, which is autumn, which is about to finish in 2 days. What did I learn? This card in particular was a stalker card for me. this week it makes sense. So I'll read it to you. This is Indigo Milk Cap, and as you can see, the keywords are hurt, awe, and honesty. Blue-blooded lactarius indigo can't hide its hurt, but bruises and weeps vibrantly. What tears need to be expressed? What beauty do they hold? And this was paired with transition, which talks about changes, but also be careful of deceit and what's hidden. And then you've got the moon, which is also quite similar in that respect. So for me too, when I look at cards, I look at any sort of color similarities that's between them. And here we've got indigo, so that's third eye chakra to me, seeing through things. So I started dating this week, and like I said, this card kept coming up, and I felt like this is quite accurate to this month. Has been, I guess, the themes of discovering hidden things, aspects, finding the truth of situations and the truth of my feelings, processing hurt, opening up myself to complete honesty, and approaching things with a sense of awe and wonder. But this would be quite accurate for me in terms of this week. So obviously I would go deeper than that, but I'm not doing that here. Okay, so the second card asks you, what should I be open to in the season to come? So what should I be open to this winter? And for that one, I got fruiting body with the keywords manifestation, embodiment, and expansion. Suddenly, something's there that wasn't before. The fruiting body, a visual manifestation of underground efforts. What is taking shape? So with this card, I did pull this happiness card, and that's beautiful, like already just the keyword happiness. So with happiness, this talks about new successes, relationships, and new beginnings. It talks about celebrations, excitement, holidays, good news, physical radiance. So that's wonderful. That's something that will be coming in. And then I've got Six of Earth here, which is a Six of Pentacles. And that's normally about community. So spending time with other people, being generous to those around me, receiving the generosity in return, and honoring everyone around me and gathering together and sharing abundance with those whom I love. So, and in this spread, I see mostly green, so, and obviously pink. So this is like, I would be like, this is a heart chakra thing too, opening of the heart chakra this coming winter. So this was the, I keep forgetting what this one's actually called. It's just called the Mushroom Oracle. And I will be keeping it in my collection. I absolutely just love the way it looks. I'm not going to lie. You know, I mean this beauty as staying together, because I am infatuated with the way that they look. I can see, because there's a bit of a mattness to it, you can see some dints and scratches on it, but I'm sure she'll be fine. She'll be right. But there's just, there's so many cards I love. I especially love the ones that have, this is probably one of my least favorite cards, I'll be honest, in the deck. That's gorgeous. I love the ones with butterflies in them. And pansies, funsies. I also love any of the ones that have like flashes of red, because I'm a sucker for red. Like, here we go. Got the Amanita Mascara. One of my favorite cards in the entire deck. I freaking love that card. That's also cute. That one's nice too. Once again, the pansies. Any card that has pansies on it has my heart. I love the moon in that one. So there's just like, I love the majority of the pictures in there. That's actually one of my least favorites, and I got it the most. So I always look at things like, why am I resisting this card? What is it about it that I don't like, repels me? And let's lean into that a bit more. And that's probably one of my favorite cards about the entire deck. I just love the mushrooms in there, and the vibrancy, and the butterflies, and the message itself. This is definitely probably my favorite card out of the whole deck. So I hope that wherever you are having a magical morning, afternoon, or evening. And as always, stay wild, star child.